Hello, welcome back, guys. This is going to be the Promised Neverland reviews because I've got quite a fair bit of reviews to go through. But I'm going to be skimming over most because, just don't really want to go into much detail because there's a lot of content to go through. But nevertheless, it's the Promised Neverland chapter 70. So this is a little flashback to Isabella's point of view before this moment where they surround Peter. And it's her pretty much ta so Isabella's the grandma, and she's talking to all the mothers and telling them how they need to rebel. And one of the things she brings up is how the previous grandma was shipped off very easily. She made one mistake and she's gone, and now she's the grandma. And we get this little flashback, and it's quite interesting to see because it's quite obvious to see that the people who are mothers are people who have suffered the most because of this system, due to the sheer fact that they've lived longer and they've had to fight and survive just to survive, and a lot longer as well because they become mothers and they have to keep on struggling just to survive. And it's pretty sad to say that they've endured the most, um, out of the system anyway. And then so that was quite nice to see, little point of view, especially the mother's side of you anyway. And then this part pissed me off, but somehow Peter escapes. Like legit, there's about 20 people with a rifle pointed at him, all sides, 360, but somehow he gets through all of that. I don't understand how he escapes, but for plot convenience, he escapes. So that got me really annoyed because he should not have escaped, but he did, and he's free now. All right. So then 171, we we learned something quite interesting about Peter. His plan is to get to the mainframe and shut off all the chips. So apparently, all the mothers have a chip in their heart, so he could technically disable all of them at once. So that's quite interesting to know, and that's quite interesting that that fact was even given. So maybe that has a play later on, but we'll find out. But so that's his plan anyway. But then we then demon side. So in the demon civilization, we see Sanjay Musica about to be executed. But guess who turns up? The Grand Duke Luke. Like he's still alive. What? I don't understand how he's alive because from my memories, I assumed he got killed by, all the kids back in the little amusement park he has. With his hunting grounds. I'm surprised. Emma, I swear everyone finished him off, but somehow he's still alive. So yeah, so he's alive. And the thing about him, he's actually royalty, and I don't know if it was implied before, but I didn't know that. So, and he says his sister is the queen. So by association, that would make Sonju his brother as well. And he kind of reveals the whole scheme about how the royals kept all the blood and they tainted it, and they said it was tainted blood and it's cursed, and it's dirty stuff like that. And that was just a ploy to control the masses and keep the farms in production, that kind of stuff. So he spills all the beans, and there's no one's going to stop him because they're all dead, the people who are doing that stuff anyway. And he even makes a little, what do you call it, a statement. And it looks like he was going to kill them himself, but then he ends up just drinking the blood. And and because the Grand Duke Louis is of royalty and he has such a big influence, like the poser government can't really do anything against him, and the people, they believe him because he's quite a credible source, and he's very reputable. So yeah, so he single-handedly defeats the new government in a sense, and that was pretty crazy. And then Peter finds out about the whole plan over his little his phone anyway. And then Peter's quite a smart guy actually. He's quite cunning as well. So he knows that Emma's made the promise to Guru. So his plan is to kill her to nullify the promise. So things go back to normal, and we'll see if he actually manages to follow through with that plan because this dude's quite a sneaky guy, and I know how Emma's gonna be. So I can only see the way it's going to play out because I can see he's going to take any advantage to kill her, whereas Emma's going to be a bit too naive because that's just the kind of person she is. All right, so then we get on to 172. So Emma and the gang, they pretty much find Peter again, and this time they corner him, both sides. But the thing here is Emma just wants to talk with Peter about the children's freedom, and yeah, she starts ranting, and she pretty much activates talk no jutsu, and that's a Naruto reference where Naruto somehow talks his opponents out of everything, and Emma's pretty much doing the exact same thing, so talking about how the children need freedom. It gets quite deep and stuff in terms of what is freedom, and just she just wants to live a normal life, stuff like that. She mentions all that, and then it ends with Emma trying to get a handshake from Peter, and again it just reminded me of Naruto when Naruto extends his hand to Obito, so that's what it kind of reminded me of that moment anyway. So that's kind of how it ends, because most of it was just talk no jutsu, and I got to say some of the things that was shown in the chapter was quite, it's quite political, and a lot of socialisms kind of stuff. So that was pretty cool. And then 173. So this was the latest chapter I've read now. So with this chapter is more based on Peter and himself, and it's a flashback to his life. So we see that Peter loved his older brother, and he even says that he was the person he loved the most, right? And his older brother is obviously William Minerva, but he goes by Julius. That's his real name. So everything was normal until one day Julius seems to have discovered the truth of the promise, and and once he discovered what the truth of the promise was, the reason why he was doing everything he did change, because he thought it was a noble mission that they were fighting for, and it was a just cause. But once he found out the real reason, that the children were just necessary sacrifices that his ancestor had used so he can fulfill the promise. And so, because of that, Julius changes his perspective on everything, and he kind of helps the children. But you can see that Peter, he he's a bit different to his brother, because he sees the children as a necessary sacrifices, right? And that needs to be done to keep the order of the world in check. And because of that, he actually snitches on his brother, right? So it was kind of ironic. No, it wasn't ironic. What do you call it? It's very hypocritical what he did, because he snitches on his brother, and obviously, Peter's a pretty smart dude, as we can see. He's quite a cunning guy, so he obviously knows what's going to happen to his brother if he snitches on him. He snitches on him anyway, and then he sees that his brother has paid the price, and then he's sad about it. It doesn't make sense, but that's what he did. So because of that, we kind of see how he rose to power and everything, and and how the whole William Minerva thing was on the other side anyway, other side of the world. And then and then because of Emily's talk no jutsu, we kind of see that Peter's perspective also changes a little bit, and there's a little bit of metaphor we see with the chains, because this guy thought he was having free will and everything, but he was the one in the chains of his own clan, because he was chained to destiny, forced to obey to the laws of the Rati clan, because of that he can't deny fate, and he is trapped into fate, serving as a Rati clan uh, dog anyway. I didn't know what word to use, and he kind of comes to that realization that his brother was the one who was freed of the chains, and the reason why his brother did everything was actually for him, so he can live free and be freed of the chains because of that. And I think that's when he comes to the realization that he felt kind of bad for his brother, but nevertheless he snitched on him, so he's already dead anyway. So I don't know why he's getting all emotional. And Peter says some quite cruel and damning thing, and this is more to the reader than to Emma herself. To be honest, I feel like anyway, it was a bit more self-reader conscious of the reader than to it was more of a message to the audience than to the actual characters, about how Peter compares how the humans on the human side of the world are as worse or as same as the demons, but actually they no. He says they're the same as the demons in terms of the cruelty they produce, but they say they're worse because they do all the things demons do, but they don't eat other humans, you know. So at least the demons have a reason to do some of the stuff they do, whereas the humans just do the because they're evil, you know, stuff like that. And he kind of paints the world as it is, to be honest, you know. So it's kind of a talking to the reader. So that was pretty powerful indeed. But then we kind of see that Peter looks like he's kind of been defeated and he's accepted defeat. And it would seem like he's killed himself in the final panel, but we're not quite sure, and we'll find out next time. But yeah, so yeah, these how many chapters did I read? These 4 chapters that I read, gotta say, I did enjoy them a little bit, but I felt like the talk no jutsu kind of lasted a bit too long, in my opinion, and it was something coming up. But somehow in one chapter, I kind of feel bad for Peter a little bit because of his flashback. Kind of like fleshes out his characters fully, so that was quite. I quite enjoyed that little flashback of Peter, so we learn about his perspective. But it would, I feel like it would have been quite nice if we learnt it in smaller segments throughout the series instead of all at once. So it feels a bit rushed to me anyway, because it's just thrown in my face at the last minute. But nevertheless, I can definitely see this series ending very soon because the main villain has pretty much been cornered, and we'll see where the story goes on from here. But I'll see you guys next time. Boom.